Well, let's come back to making connections. You've said that that's something that you love to do, and that's clearly evident when you look at what you've done with the Design and Content Conference since 2014. This is, as I mentioned in your intro, the world's leading event in this space, and you just finished it last week.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you start this on top of everything else that you do?
Well, it's a bit of a story, and I think it's a good one. But so I was traveling around to different events, and I'm a big believer in sharing the knowledge I have. Whether I believe I'm the expert or not, I have my perspective and experience, just like we all do. And I also really enjoyed travel, and so it was this perfect combination. I was at events like you had mentioned, South by Southwest, Future of Web, lots of others. And at one point, when I was looking around at events in general that I was part of, I began to see, I was like, hey, there's just a lot of people like me here that are speaking. And when I say like me, to be clear, I mean a cis white male in tech, not exclusively, and I'm not picking on any event at all, but that was the landscape that I saw at that time. And I remember thinking that something felt off, which is also revealing sort of the level of privilege that I had, that it felt off when I was experiencing this travel and talking at events. And I spoke to this one woman at an event that I was at, and I just had only been doing it for like 3-4 years, and just said, hey, like, if you're open to talking about this, I'd love to know, like what you were able to negotiate for getting paid to speak at this event. And she just turned and looked at me and said, you're getting paid? And, it was like this heartbreaking moment, probably for both of us, definitely, I would say more impactful for her, where we talked through some of that. And I wish I could say that my eyes had been open before that a little bit better, but they weren't. And so over time, to bring this a little bit shorter, I started to reflect on the events I was part of. And as I recommended people to go speak at others, say, hey, I don't need to present at this again. Like, you have this perspective there. I know this other person with a different experience, different background, whatever it happened to be. But at certain events they'd go to, it became almost like a token person, or they would like give me feedback afterwards and say, I didn't really feel like I belonged there. And I began to reflect on what impact I could even have. Like, was I helpless in this? And what it came down to is I thought, rather than recommend people to other events, I wanted to start an event. A friend of mine, Brian Rashawn, helped me found the Design and Content Conference in 2014. Our first one was like 2015. And we had some core tenets around everyone gets treated fairly, meaning like attendees come and they get what they expected, that all speakers are paid, all contractors are paid. This is a business. This isn't like a volunteer effort. Some events are that. Like, I don't want to pick on things like DrupalCon is a great example. Huge open source organization where there's lots of people that volunteer their time to that. They believe in it. But that's not what I was putting on and what I was seeing other places. I wanted to be able to run an event that was fair, equitable, and diverse, and also profitable. And I don't mean like gobs of money. That's not what happens there, but that it was sustainable. Every year I could run this again because we were able to pay everyone. My time was fairly compensated too, because I can't give it all away. And that we were able to share what we were learning. And so we founded the Design and Content Conference with a focus in on the intersection of design and content in the digital realm. We've come more and more towards digital product over the last few years, but it was more and more towards digital service in the web at the start. And I would say a very, very close second is diversity, equity, and inclusion in an event. Like, how can you do that is a way of being fair to everyone and to learn and grow each year?